our bodies are always changing. We get pregnant, we have the baby, we lose the weight, we don't lose the weight, we go through menopause, we go through everything about our lives. It's like it changes our body a little bit. It's so powerful when a woman knows how to dress for her body shape, not only the body shape that she has today.
Hey guys, welcome to episode number 198 of the Gay Mom Girlfriend podcast, where today I got to sit down with the beautiful Angela Foster, who is a stylist for high-powered women. She helps us all feel more confident. Such a great gig. We got to talk today about how you can dress for your brand, what to do when you're feeling awful frumpy. I think I used the word slumpy in the episode though. Either one's really fun. You know the feeling, I know the feeling. We also talk about what to do when you walk into your closet and think, oh my gosh, I have no clothes, even though there's a lot of clothes hanging there. We went into great detail about that. And I was really direct with her and asking, how do you get started with clients? Like, what do you do with this? And I love the way that she talks about it and the way that she answered that question. That is the one thing you can do to stop feeling frumpy today. Please keep your ears and eyes out for that. You're going to love it. And it's something that you will remember. The other thing I hope you pay attention to is how she got started. For all of you who are like, really, could I have a business? Or I don't know if I would start the right business if I wanted to start one. Today's episode will really give you some comfort in that this sort of came to Angela. And I love, can't wait for you to hear the story. But I love that it comes from her desire to help another woman who is really, really struggling. I think that's the best part. Anyway, I hope you have a wonderful time listening in on this conversation, because that's really what it's like, is two girlfriends sat down and had a conversation. Oh, quick note from me. If you are listening and not watching, hop onto YouTube for a hot second and check out her beautiful earrings in this episode. All right, you guys, pop in those earphones and let's get to it. Angela, welcome to the Gay Mom Girlfriend podcast.
Sarah, thank you so much for having me. I know you are going to blow this off, but literally the highlight of my week. Highlight of my week, girl. Yes.
I don't know if that's true, but I like it and I'm going to take it. But it's so funny. Oh my gosh. Just as we're getting ready, you guys don't know this. We were chatting before we hit record and I'm like, I don't have a necklace on. I'm talking to a stylist. Oh my God. I don't think I have enough of the beauty on. Can we talk about your earrings for a second? Those of you listening, you've got to run over to YouTube, because seriously, the earrings, like OMG, so good.
Thank you, my dear. Well, I always say, like, when you're on Zoom or via video, give them one thing to focus on. So today it just happens to be my earrings. Yes, they are a little.
They're gorgeous. You can't so playful. So fun.
Thank you.
Love. Okay. But before we jump into all the gooey goodness, like that amazing tip that you just dropped out of the blue, like give them one thing to focus on, huge. I want to know, Angela, why is this what you do? Like, what got you into this? Why is this your thing? And how did you get started as a business owner?
Right. So I was an executive in fashion and beauty for 20 years. And I had a girlfriend, coworker, and she had just had her second baby. Her husband had just left her. And she was going through, obviously, a lot. Yeah. And we were actually out of town at a national sales meeting. And she said, you always look so great. I don't even know like this body anymore. I don't have any style anymore. Would you be willing to help me? And I was like, of course. So it started super organically. Like, I would see things and I'd pop it over and I'd be like, girl, this is going to look amazing on you. Try this. And we probably did that for maybe like a month, just like I said, very organically. Wow. And so she started feeling like super confident. Her self-esteem bounced back. I mean, she had a lot a lot of personal things going on. And she had this circle of girlfriends, not involved in our work at all. And they were like, what are you doing? What's going on with you? You look amazing. You have like bounced back. And she goes, oh my gosh, my girlfriend's helping me. And so she's like, well, Angela, do you mind if I give them your information? And I was like, well, I guess, but I have a job.
No, this isn't my job yet, right?
Yeah, right.
That's so good.
Right. And then it just kind of snowballed from there. Like, one client became 2, became 5, became 10. And it just, yes. And it became a thing where, you only have so many hours in the day. You only have so much energy, and a decision had to be made. And my full-time job was fine. Like it was great. I'd probably still be there. But there is something magical about helping women feel great. There's just like, I see it throughout my coaching. Like a woman goes from, oh, my body's changing. I don't know what to wear. My clothes don't fit. Well, just they go from that spot to sending me like selfies, like I'm getting ready to jump on stage. Can you believe this? Like they feel it's just magical. Helping women feel great. It's just the best thing ever. So
well, here, I'm with you on that one 100%. Boy, I mean, there really is, there are a few things that are better. I think, there's so many of us, we're all struggling with our own insecurities, or am I good enough at that? Or we're comparing ourselves to other people.
yeah.
And so I think anytime we can sort of lift each other up out of that, I mean, we all win. Absolutely. Yes. But I love that this all started with like someone being like, I don't know who I just, when you said second baby, I was already in. I'm like, oh my gosh, the dark side of the moon is the second baby. You're like, what has happened to my life? But then to be going through a divorce at the same time. Oh my goodness.
Right.
It must have just made such a difference for her. That's gorgeous.
It was. I mean, obviously we're still friends and all of that. So we still talk and all of that. And it's just to see how much of a change it's just the best.
Oh, yeah. So good. I know. So heartwarming. I love it. So these days, I know we are living in the weirdest times still. I always said like I'm some genius. No, let me rephrase that. Okay. When COVID hit, I remember I had like this penny drop moment where I was like, this is going to be like all of our grandparents about World War II. I don't know if you ever listened to them. They'd be like, well, before the war and then after the war. And it was like this defining thing in their lives. And I remember we were about 2 weeks in and I'm like, oh, there's going to be a before COVID and an after COVID. And I was like, I don't know what that means, but there's going to be for all of us. And it turns out there is. And it is this weird work thing where people are like, am I working? Or am I at home? Am I in the office? I don't know. I'd rather be at home. Like it's this weird, we now know that we can work from anywhere.
Right.
So it's this weird hybrid thing. What are we supposed to do? Like can I be totally honest with you, Angela? Don't tell me.
Yes, of course. Spill all the secrets.
Yeah. I rarely wear anything but jeans on the bottom half ever. And they're usually holy. And sometimes I have flip-flops on. Yeah. Right. But up from here up. Like don't
party on top.
Yeah, I mean, is this what we're doing now? Is this what we should be doing to be dressing for this hybrid environment?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so 100% yes. Like before and after, this will be one of those defining moments that all of us talk about. And anybody who didn't live through it will be like, girl, you have no idea, right? So there's so much there. So the first thing I always feel like with my clients is if you feel your very best, if you feel, you know what I mean? If you're going to have client calls and you're going to have sales calls and calls with your team and all of that, if you feel 100%, whether that's in denim or sweats or yoga pants, whatever that looks like, that's the most important thing, right? So how they feel and how they show up. So that's it. With the hybrid deal though, it's such a challenge because I remember before COVID, I had a section of my closet and it was work clothes. And that was it. And they were all skirts, dresses, whatever, but they were all work, like in my head. And there was one bucket. Now though, right, to your point, if you're going to be taking Zoom calls all day long and nobody cares what you have on the bucket, then it's all of a sudden now I have a Zoom bucket or a virtual bucket. And I have I have to actually go out and see people and they're not going to. Right. So it's almost like we have two separate work wardrobes now, and that's how we need to look at it. And then once you do it that way, then it's easy, right? Because then you're like, okay, well, these tops look great on Zoom, and this is actually a whole outfit that I can leave the house in.
Okay. I think I'm understanding. And you know what? I went out to dinner last night and I was like, I have to put on pants. It was a weird, and I feel so silly because I know we're all like joking about that now. Like we're like, haha, I wear pants today. I'm so like precious. Look, but I was like, oh my God, I have to put on pants. Right. It was like a thing. I was like, I don't even know what fits anymore. I don't know where anything is. I mean, luckily everything fit, but I was like, I haven't looked at pants, like seriously looked at them in a really long time. And I was always challenge my people. I'm like, look at your credit card statement and see what you spent your money on. And that'll tell you what your values are. So I was like, I'm going to eat my own dog food. And I looked at my credit card statement. It's all Nordstrom and it's all tops.
So
Sounds like Sarah Walton. Get some pants in there once in a while, would ya? Holy cannoli. But
but
it's so you
you're
feel good
halfway
on top,
home.
right?
Yes. And you're halfway home. Couple pants, you'll be golden. No, no, like no stress, no pressure. But no, that's interesting, right? Like it is all about the tops. But and you're so fortunate that you didn't have like a big weight fluctuation. But one of the things about being women, to your point about, having second baby or all of that, our bodies are always changing. We get pregnant, we have the baby, we lose the weight, we don't lose the weight, we go through menopause, we go through everything about our lives. It's like it changes our body a little bit. It's so powerful when a woman knows how to dress for her body shape, not only the body shape that she has today, but if something changes, it doesn't like throw her for a loop. She'll know how to adjust, like, oh, have a little bit more around the middle than I used to have. Okay, I know how to deal with that. That's really where the confidence of dressing for, like for your brand and all of that comes in, when it doesn't throw you for a tizzy.
Oh my God, that's actually really cool. I mean, I think, okay, let's break this down, Angela, because I think we all know there's like the apple, the pear, and I don't remember the other one because I'm a pear, but there's an apple, there's a pear, and a something else. Anyway, I was a child of the 80s. That's all we got was fruit. So now when you're working with women, like, what do you help them with first? Like, if we were to like think of how we as women view ourselves, we know now confidence is the biggest thing. I love that you said that. I think that's so true. If we don't feel good, we're not going to do our best work. I don't care what anybody says. You just feel sloppy. You just feel yucky.
Yeah.
So if someone's in that mode, right? Someone
Yes.
is listening right now and they're like, did I even wash my hair this week? I'm not sure. Right. Because did I pee today? That kind of question we can ask ourselves. I don't know if I did. Right. Like having those moments, like, where would you start with that? Is it like get one piece of clothing that makes you feel good? Is it no, if you're an apple, a pear, or whatever the third one is? I can't remember. Like, how do we go about this? Just one small thing someone could take today to really feel better.
Yep. Sarah, so much goodness there. So first things first, I have a 5-step system that we go through, that my one-on-one coaching clients and I go through. It's called Spark. And the very first step is body shape. So that's the first thing. It's called You're Not an Apple, a Pear, or an Orange. It's almost like I fed that to you, but you just gave it to me. So yes. And
why are we all fruit? Okay, no, I'm glad we're not fruit. Thank you, Angela.
Exactly. No, Sarah, I always say that. I'm like, damn it, you're not a fruit salad. Oops, I said a bad word, but you know what I mean. Like you're not a fruit salad. But it's so true. So like when I first started working with clients, I would say, okay, so let's talk about your body shape. And they would be like, I'm a pear and my hips are too wide, my butt's too big, and my thighs are. It was always like, I'm a this fruit and this is what's wrong with me. So I was like, after a while, I was like, this is a nightmare. And again, it goes back to, you cannot sit there in your closet in the morning and be like, well, no, that doesn't look good because my hips are too big, or I can't wear that because whatever. And then leave the house and really like say, I'm going to like smash my goals today after you've just had all that like bad mind chatter stuff. So I kind of flipped the switch on that. And the very first thing I say to clients is this: we're going to talk body shape. Tell me what your favorite feature is. What do you love the most about your body? And this doesn't have to be like, I have perfect boobs, or my butt, you could like, like bounce a nickel off. It doesn't have, it's not perfect. What do you love about it? And they pick that first. So we focus on accentuating what they love first, and then we worry about the other stuff later. Now, that's not to say that we never have a conversation about, I have a little bit of extra weight in the middle, or my thighs aren't, svelte enough, or whatever. We deal with that. It's just not the first thing we think about. And once the clients get into that thing of, okay, like my boobs are amazing, and I am going to wear like a V-neck sweater or a button-down blouse or whatever. Now, I always like see women get nervous about that. This isn't hoochie mama stuff. This isn't like, oh, I love my legs, I have to wear a skirt like cut up to my butt. It's not that at all. There's tasteful, beautiful, classic ways of accentuating your favorite feature without showing a lot of skin and all that stuff. When we go through that, and then once they focus on their favorite feature, it is so empowering. I mean, I have clients to this day who will be like, I know. I'm not an apple. I'm like, right? You're not an apple, So yes,
Person. Yeah.
right.
Okay. So
Yes,
we start with what we love. So even if,
yes,
even if someone's listening right now and they're feeling slumpy and they're not sure if they
yes,
showered, whenever, it's really okay. But what do I love? Just start there, just with that
yes,
simple question.
yes,
What do I love about
yes,
my body? Gosh, that is
absolutely.
not what we as women are taught, is it?
No, no, no,
Mm.
it's not. But one woman at a time, we're going to change it.
Yeah, sister. I
Yes.
love it. I love it. All right. So we got so many business owners listening, right? And I
Yes,
know that you also really help people kind of dress for their brand. What does that mean? How,
right,
what, like, how does one dress for one's brand?
right. Such a good question. So, couple things. And I work mostly with entrepreneurs and executives. So for executives, I run into a lot of women who say, oh, but I work for so and so. I'm the VP of marketing. So
Hmm.
I don't really have a brand. It's my company's brand. And I get where they're coming from that standpoint. Like I think about my grandfather. He worked until he was 70. And I think his entire working career, he worked for two companies. So for him to be super connected to whatever company that he was with was fantastic. We don't live in that day and age anymore. Like in order to move up and for women who want to like drive their career, their chances are they're going to move around. So it's super important that they have their own personal brand that's really them and speaks to their career goals and their aspirations and all of that aside from whatever company that they happen to be working for right then. And then, of course, from an entrepreneurial standpoint, you're the face of your brand. So what message are you sending with them or to prospective clients and all of that? There's this, I call it the 7-Eleven rule just because I think it's funny and it makes me think of like overcooked hot dogs and slushies or whatever, but it's prospective clients, prospective employers, they make 11 judgments and decisions about you in 7 seconds.
That's so unfair. True.
It's,
I'm sure
it's,
it's true, but wow.
I mean, that's a lot. Like, you know what I mean? And it all happens subconsciously. So
Mm.
that whole being the visible like focus of your brand is so incredibly important. I always have my clients so a couple things. They'll either come to me with like a branding book from a branding expert that they worked with, which is always nice if they happen to have it. If not, though, it's not necessary because everybody has some sort of a brand thesaurus in mind, right? Like I want my brand to be feminine and fun and enthusiastic or professional and trustworthy or whatever that looks like. I ask them, what are 3 words that describe your brand? And then let's translate that into what that looks like from a wardrobe standpoint. And it helps so much, not only when you're shopping for clothes saying, okay, well, that's definitely not, like classic and preppy or whatever your words are, but it also helps like say, okay, well, I can't shop at that store, like not going to get me where I want to go. So it narrows down where to shop and what to buy, which to be quite honest, that's half of it right there.
For sure.
Right? Like save money, don't buy stuff that's not going to work. So yeah. Did that help?
Totally. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely. And I know for me too, I'm always like, no more black. I actually was on a call the other day. And my client was like, oh, you're not wearing black. I was like, oh, note to self. Wow. It's like my uniform, and not that I should always wear a black turtleneck, but you know what I'm saying? It's
I
just,
do.
put it on. It's easy, right? But yes, I think there is something to just sort of understanding the feeling almost you want to convey as an entrepreneur.
Yep.
And then for those who are still in corporate, I remember somebody saying to me very early on in my career, like, do the work of the position above you so that when you say you want the raise or you want the position, you can say, yes, and I've been doing this work, but it never occurred to me you should actually dress for that position as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And, the thing about your consistency with, like the clothes that you wear and all of that, that's not a bad thing, right? Because they'll start to see Sarah and I'm not saying a black turtleneck, but whatever, but they see you enough times and there's that consistency, which, because let's be honest, it's so noisy out there.
Yeah.
So noisy. The more consistent your image can be, it actually does you a favor. So
All right.
like log on to Nordstrom, buy some more black turtlenenecks. I'm just kidding.
They're going to be like, do you really want, they're going to be like, we can't let you buy any more of these. They're like, no more to you, lady. Oh, too funny. So, well, speaking of that, actually, let's talk about shopping because I think I'm laughing right now. I'm so sorry. I can't believe we're talking today. The serendipityness of this is amazing because I'm actually taking my daughter shopping right after school, like the second, because we have 3 events she needs dresses for. And I feel like I'm about to panic shop. And I have a feeling. And dear sweet Angela here is going to be like, Sarah, here's how you don't panic shop. Because I would have been like, just oh my God, we have 5 minutes, right?
Yes.
Yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. How
It
does one not panic shop, Angela?
It happens. No. So a lot of it happens when we just don't plan ahead, right? It's kind of like if you are having a bunch of people over for a cocktail party on Saturday, you're probably not going to go grocery shopping at 4 o'clock on Saturday afternoon and think, oh crap, what am I going to serve these people, right? It's all about planning ahead. And if you can, especially when you're an entrepreneur or an executive, you have a pretty good idea of what's happening in the next couple months in your calendar, right? Like I have a keynote speech or I have a presentation in front of the board, or you have a pretty good idea of what your calendar looks like. Plan ahead. I mean, if you have a wedding on Saturday and you started a month ago looking for the perfect dress, it takes all the stress and all the pressure off of you. When you start on Friday before the Saturday wedding, then all of a sudden you're like, I'm desperate. I'm going to buy whatever. It's not that you can't find something. It's that number one, why like don't put yourself under like all that stress. Like there's enough places to like pound stress on us. So that's the first thing. The second thing is once you get to know the stores that carry the sizes that fit your body shape and you know the brands that fit you well, you'll have kind of a mental list of, okay, so I know Bash looks amazing on me, or I know, you have those default brands, and then you can kind of go back and go back and go back because you know that it fits, and it just takes a lot of worry and pressure off of you. But plan ahead. I know that was like so much talking for a simple question. Sorry, Sarah. Plan ahead. That
was perfect.
That's my tip.
Well, I'm laughing. I'm over here just laughing at myself because it's like you say, plan ahead. And I was like, duh. To me, right? Like, why isn't it amazing? I was on someone else's podcast yesterday and she goes, I love investing in coaches and we do all this amazing work. And then they say the most simple thing and we're like, duh. Like, how did I not see that? Right. But that's what you just did for me. Is like, how did I not see that? Like, of course, if we can plan ahead. And I think the other thing that's really important, hence my black shirts, right, is really like noticing or remembering what we already have too, right? But that's got to be part of the planning process. Because if you're actually about to go shopping and you take a hot second to look at what you already have.
Yes, absolutely. So my clients and I, we work together at the beginning of every quarter. We look at the events, both personal and professional, that they have on. We already know what styles flatter their body shape. We know what season we're going into, whether it's winter or fall and all of that. We pull from the pieces that they already have in their closet. And then we make a list and we stick to the list. It's like going to the grocery store. I must be hungry because I keep talking about food. I don't know what my problem is. So it's like when you have a list at the grocery store and potato chips are not on the list. No. So I can't buy another bag of, you know what I mean? It's stick to the list. And those are the priorities. Not to say that if you don't have a yellow floral caftan on your list, you can't ever buy it, but mark the things off your list first. It's just going to make your life easier. And that's really all we want, right? Like just make getting dressed in the morning fast and easy for me so I can move on with my day.
Yeah. No, I mean, it is. I think that's why I always grab black because it looks great. I'm done. The end. And I can wear fun earrings, right? Yes. Totally going to go try to find it. All right. So, okay. So in looking at this, it's interesting. I was just thinking the other day, I threw away a pack of mushrooms. We're both talking about food. And I was like, Sarah Walton, when you meal plan, you don't do this. Yes. I saw them and thought, oh, maybe I'll throw that in a breakfast, but I did not have a plan for it. There was nowhere, and they went rotten, right? Which is, it just makes me sick, right? It's like, but I feel that way about our clothes too. I mean, isn't that one of the number one like issues we have, especially in the United States, right? Is how many clothes that we like just cycle through every year, right?
Yep. No, we don't have a lack of clothes problem. We have a not knowing how to shop problem, right? Yeah. And panic shopping absolutely leads to a bunch of bad decisions. I mean, I'm sure every woman who's listening to us right now has something in her closet that she bought for some event that was coming up. She wore it once and she's never, ever going to wear it again. And then you get all that guilt about like, well, I can't really like get rid of it because I spent so much money on it and blah, 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 all of that. Right. So yeah, it's easy to find clothes. We just need to be like discerning and to say, like, let's plan ahead. Let's make good decisions. Let's make sure it looks great on us. And then it alleviates a lot of that, to your point, wasting money and donating stuff that we don't need.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I love that. I do think it's important, right? I do feel like, none of us are like going to run out of clothes soon. That's not a thing, but you can have the experience of walking in your closet and like, I have no clothes. So, to kind of really start to reframe that for ourselves, it sounds like, it's a really helpful thing you do for people. All right. So 2 things I have. So one is, I know you have a special gift for our audience. So hang on to that for 1 sec, because the other thing I wanted to ask you is if there's anything that we could leave people with today, if there's one thing, like someone's at the grocery store, we are in the grocery store, someone's at the grocery store tomorrow or the coffee shop or their workout class or a meeting, whatever. And they're like, oh my gosh, I heard this amazing woman, Angela, on the Game On Girlfriend podcast yesterday. And what she said was,
yes.
What would you love for that to be?
I would love so much if we could look in the mirror and pick our favorite feature and focus on that before we worry about anything else. Anything else. If we could just focus on what we love about our bodies and then pay attention to how that feels when we leave the house instead of like all the negative mind chatter that we have about this, that, or the other thing. If we could just make that one small step, it would make such a huge difference in how we feel. It's a game changer.
It really is. Oh, I love that. I love that. Thank you so much. And with that, when people are like, oh my gosh, get me some more Angela, please. You have like a do and don't list for us. Is that right?
I do. The top 5 do's and don'ts, super easy, but both of them very impactful. All of them are very impactful. So yes, your girlfriends can go to angelastylecoach.com/GOG.
Game On Girlfriend. I love that. You guys, we will have the link to that in the show notes and underneath this video for those of you watching on YouTube. Oh my gosh, Angela, thank you so much for being with me today. I've had such a great time with you, both on and off the camera. Don't tell anybody how much fun we have when the camera's not on. It was just so great. Thank you so much for your time today.
No, Sarah, it was an absolute pleasure. I'm a huge fan. So I was serious when I said highlight of my week, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.